Well, I've been collecting plants, particularly maples and also conifers and Asian plants of all kinds for close to 40 years. And I have the distinct pleasure today to be at the garden of Leon Olnick, and his son Paul, who is a professional landscaper, will be introducing us to some of the amazing plants that they have here in Leon's collection.
Well, let's get started with this particular tree here is an Acer palmatum Mikawa Yatsubusa. Now in the trade, this could also be called tattooed due to the short stature of this tree. Fall colors, an amazing red. And what I really love about the tree in the spring is the samaras on here. The colors on this tree are going to generally be green throughout the year.
Right.
But
right.
What also I like about it is if you look really close at the bark, it's got a lot of green to it. And that's actually a feature in the winter that I like about this tree also, is that
Sure.
green with the sap going back down to the root system will intensify, and it gives you some winter interest.
Exactly, because this is deciduous, of course, in the winter. Paul, this is a beautiful specimen here in front of your dad's house. Green foliage and a great canopy the way it spreads out. Once again, a Japanese maple.
Yeah, this is a Murasaki Kiyohime Yatsubusa. Yatsubusa demonstrates, again, dwarf. This particular tree I've seen get as big as 4 and 5 feet tall. But what's unique about this tree is it gets every bit of 12 to 15 feet wide. The leaves are much, much smaller than that of a normal Acer palmatum. But what's really wonderful too is if you see on some of the leaves that get a little bit more sun, they get a dappled bit of red on the outer leaf lobe, which is really nice. Paul, one thing that people will normally see when they hear Japanese maple is they'll see this crimson queen and they'll say, oh, that's the Japanese maple. Whereas you look, there's actually hundreds and hundreds of varieties of Japanese maples. If you look at the leaf on the Kiyohime, much different than the look of the dissectum on the Crimson Queen.
Right.
So it's really nice to use these together because of the fact that there's so much different structure. Even this one behind you, this is the Aceriu. Yeah. Also, this is a dissectum leaf, but it's on a palmatum upright tree. So right here you get an idea of 3 different types of Japanese maples all together.
They've got a wonderful airy texture to the leaves, which is really, really nice. And incredible color on this one. And once again, the nice soft green of this right next to it.
This will turn into a wonderful deep red in the fall.
Wow, that's going to be just beautiful. Well, all I have to say is this is an absolutely incredible setting that we're in here. A full woodland setting, full Asian, Japanese style garden with all these incredible conifers, maples, the hardscape, the rocks. Quite extraordinary, to say the very least. Oh, and what do we have here, Paul?
Well, this is your Japanese mythology, your Shishigarshira. This is a female lion's head. It's got kind of the curled leaf to it. What's interesting about the Shishigarshira and the Ojishi is the fact that neither of these trees produce any seeds. Wow. So when you have a tree, they're going to be parent to an original cutting off of your trees that have been over 100 years ago.
Right. They're sterile, in other words.
Correct.
Basically. Yeah.
Which is, you know, some people like not having the weeds come out of it.
Right.
But the fall color on the Shishigarshira is a combination of gold, orange, and red.
Wow.
Hence the name lion's mane. This is Acer palmatum Ojishi, and Ojishi is the male form of the lion's mane. This is actually a little different. The leaf's a little larger. Fall color on this is going to be more on the lines of the red mixed with a little bit of orange. Still demonstrates a lion's mane. Again, no samaras, no seeds.
Yep.
So a true mutation is Ojishi and Shishigarshira.
Well, Paul, this Japanese maple has really interesting leaf structure. Very, very thin, very, very linear leaves. Tell us a little bit about it.
This is a Beniotaki ribbon leaf, Linolibiarum. Some people refer to as a bamboo leaf. Wonderful fall color. This particular tree is around 20 feet tall right now, and I'm going to guesstimate that this will probably grow to be about a 30-foot plus tree. But very, very unique, again, in the leaf structure on it, and the colors are just phenomenal with that red.
In comparison to that, this one here.
Yeah, this is elegans, and elegans is going to be more of your traditional palmatum. And you see it's going to have 5 to 7 lobes.
You can see the difference in the leaf structure.
the difference on this particular tree is no different from this Beni Otaki. They're both going to get around 30 feet in size. So for people looking to get some shade in the garden, these are amazing trees to do that with. But again, it's just going to give you another form different from what all other Japanese maples look like.
Wow, on the top of this tree, we've got incredible purple new cones coming out and the gold color on it. Which one is this now?
This is Picea orientale Skylands.
Wow.
And those cones actually come out red to start with.
Wow, and then turn pink. Yeah, I remember this species was named for the Skylands arboretum, which is no longer in existence in New Jersey. I think that's where it was originally found.
They get about 25 feet.
Yeah,
they are a perfect tree for privacy.
It's great to get a splash of yellow in the garden like that. It really, really, really sets
It'll
things
keep
off.
the yellow year round too.
I know. That's the amazing part of it. Well, wow, look at what we have here. Tell me about this maple.
This is an Acer palmatum, Rhode Island red. Rhode Island red is one of your dwarfs to the bloodgood. This tree will get roughly about 8 to 10 feet tall, 10 to 12 feet wide at maturity. This tree in particular is between 15 and 20 years old.
And look at that beautiful dome on that with that flat bottom. It's absolutely just really a perfect setting, especially when you pair it with this very, very nice rhododendron.
This is an Acer japonicum, so when you get the fall color, you get the orange and the red.
Wow.
So it's just a lot of different colors going on.
And we're sitting, according to Paul's dad, on some teak benches that came from India. And I would guess, looking at the lichens on these things, that they must be over 100 years old. But what a perfect setting here. This wonderful little, it's almost a garden in itself right here in this one spot. Paul, this Japanese maple is amazing reticulated leaves. This is this veniation in the leaves that you can see. What species do we have here?
This again is an Acer palmatum, but this is called Grandma Ghost. This was actually planted for my mother's mom when she passed away.
Oh wow.
So this has a little more meaning in the garden just because of that. But
tribute, yeah.
Gets around 12 to 15 feet.
Exceptional variety here. We want to.
This is one of your dwarfs. This is Acer palmatum Sharp's pygmy. Right. This one will always stay small. Again, this is going to get a little bit of width to it.
It spreads out, yeah.
But the fall color on this is a really nice light red. I've even seen some purple on these before too.
Now that's under a fairly big maple. Is it going to still get the fall color with that or not? I mean the one underneath.
Yes,
yeah, it will.
This is what's interesting. You see this tree, which is every bit of 30 feet wide, 20 feet tall. Now if I put these two leaves together, it's really hard to distinguish what's the difference.
Right. Well, we've got a really interesting conifer here. Paul, you want to tell us a little bit about this weeping guy?
This is a weeper. This is Picea omerica Gotelli's weeping. And Gotelli's weeping will also produce the cones like we've seen on some of the other conifers. But this particular one is great for Tennessee because it's more drought tolerant. Now when I say drought tolerant, it doesn't mean go buy it, stick it in the ground and never water it, leave it alone. It means after 3 to 5 years of establishment, this tree will be good to go.
It also has interesting silver back on the needles, which is kind of a neat feature.
Well, right now you're seeing the new foliage on it, and as that foliage starts to harden, it will give you some of this white,
the silver,
evergreen silver look to it.
Which is kind of neat, actually. Well, Paul, we got a wonderful cut leaf maple here. You want to give us a little bit of a description on that?
So this is Acer japonicum, and this is Green Cascade. Green Cascade is going to give you nice little flowers that'll dangle down in the spring. Gives you some samaras that are quite nice on it too. I love the structure on this particular tree. One of the nicer structures that there is. Fall color on this is just fabulous. Looks like an artist came and just dabbled some orange and red and yellow on it.
Yeah, I've seen them in the fall. They're really extraordinary. And then just above it here, we've got the blue Atlas cedar, the weeping form, which with a great trunk. You see how that trunk is shaped, and that's just a wonderful setting as we go up the steps in this.
So this is actually partially deciduous.
Yes, yes.
Every winter you lose quite a bit of the needles on it, and then the spring it pushes a whole new flush out.
Yeah.
This tree will die if it's too wet.
Yes. Oh,
so you see it's built up in a wall area where the drainage is amazing for it.
Well, Paul, I'm really amazed with the way you have arranged these rocks on this sort of, it almost looks like a cliff out in nature somewhere.
This used to just be a hillside that had railroad ties. I told my dad no railroad ties. So we drug these rocks down by hand, created this outcropping garden. A lot of different spruces were used, Picea abies, Piceas, Coriana. That's the silver lock up there. If you look closely, you can see it almost looks like a frosted Christmas tree you could buy.
Right, exactly.
That tree is wonderful, and I'm excited that it's doing so well there. What I'm finding is the fact that this gets the end of the day sun and it's really, really well drained allows this tree to do well.
Well, I'm pretty excited about this piece of sculpture. Being a sculptor myself, this is really awesome, and it fits so nicely in this vignette. And here at my feet is a dwarf ginkgo.
This is supposed to be more rounded in stature. It'll get as tall as me, so I mean,
right.
But it's still a dwarf in retrospect to what a ginkgo can become.
Sure. Right. Most people think of ginkgos when they think of a really, really large tree. There's a whole collection now of dwarf ginkgos. Gnome, buddy, American.
They're all very, very similar though.
Very similar, a lot similar. We've got one more Japanese maple here that I'm really impressed with. If you'd like to give me an update on this one.
So this is one of your dwarf dissectums. Globe is not relatively used as much, but wonderful orange to yellow fall color, and I just love the shape and the curviness. And
very nice.
You know, sometimes you may have a Japanese maple one year that it just looks so bad. Maybe the weather beat it up. Prune off the dead, give it some time, because these start to look amazing as they get some age to them.
Right. What sort of size is the acreage here on this property?
I mean, it's between a quarter acre and a half acre of actual garden. The thing is, you create little vignettes, little spaces that are to their own in the garden.
And then a lot of people find they'll start with a small, like you say, a small vignette or a small piece on their property, and then they can connect as they decide they want to expand their collection and so on.
Correct.
Until you get something like your dad's place here, where we have pretty much a continuous garden area with the pathways and the walkways through it. Believe me, it beats having a lawn. Pretty much takes care of itself with the exception of some pruning.
One thing that you'll find in a garden of this, he's got the large trees, so weeding is not as bad. However, weeding of trees is what becomes...
Exactly, the seedlings.
Yep.
They're the seedlings that have to come out. Paul, it's really been a pleasure to come out here today. We've had a glorious day and a glorious garden to walk through. And I can thank you so much for your explanations, which have been absolutely incredible. You know an awful lot about them. It makes it a lot easier for folks who are thinking about doing this sort of garden.
For inspiring garden tours, growing tips, and garden projects, visit our website at volunteergardener.org or on YouTube at the Volunteer Gardener channel, and like us on Facebook.